Hello and welcome to this edition of From the Pavilion End. We had started this season of podcast with essentially the India versus Afghanistan uh, T20 series. Then we had the India versus England Test series. And we now will be finishing our season one with the India versus England series look back, as well as a brief look at what the next spectacle in the Indian cricketing context, IPL, holds for the Indian T20 team with regards to the World T20 Championship that is coming up in June this year. So stay tuned. This is the last edition of season one.
So our podcast is available on Spotify. Just search From the Pavilion End. We are also available on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and on YouTube Podcast. Please show your love by subscribing and following the podcast. And please like the episode and share it with your friends.
Talking about the India versus England series, while IPL is just around the corner, might be ancient news. But I promise that this is the last time we are revisiting this epic series that I find from India's perspective. Um, we will divide it into two parts. First part, we will look at how India has dwelt with the threats. The Indian young batsmen have dealt with the threats of the English bowlers, and then we'll look at how correspondingly the bazzball batsmen have dealt with the Indian bowlers, and then we will try and attempt to give points out of 10 for each one of the players as well as some of the other stakeholders in this series. Now, this is a simple enough chart. It shows how the two teams have done their defenses and how the two teams have done their attacking. So if you look at it, the safe shots is basically when somebody has defended. So India has played safe shots 71% of time. So defended 71% of time. England has defended 65% of time. When India has defended, their average is 23 and England's average is 13. And their strike rate is 23 and England's strike rate is 26. So England has scored more runs. But look at the balls per wicket. Playing a defensive shot, India has lost a wicket every 103 balls, whereas England has roughly lost a wicket half two wickets that number of balls. Also, look at the fall shot percentage. While playing a defensive shot, India's is 12%, England's is 19%, and runs per fall shot is 1.89 for India and 1.32. So India has defended better, lost less number of wickets while playing a defensive shots, and also scored more number of runs out of those fall shots. Now, look at the teams when they have attacked. Now, India has, of course, attacked 29% and England has attacked 35%. And when India has attacked, their average is 57. England has scored runs at 37. India has also a higher strike rate when they have attacked. So 138 to England's 126. Again, the balls per wicket for India is markedly higher, 41, and England's is 28. And fall shot percentage is also lower. India's is 21%, England's is 32%. And the runs per fall shot for India is almost double, 6.68 to 3.98. What this tells us is that India has simply been better when they have defended, losing less number of wickets per defensive shot. And when they have attacked much more ferociously and much more successfully than England. So the strike rates tells us that India even with 29% of times playing attacking shots, has a much higher average and a much better strike rate. So that, I think, in a sense, was the difference between the two teams in the series. Now let's look at how the individual members have performed in this series. Let's look at India first. So this is the team that played the matches. I have not included players who were chosen but had to withdraw, or who were chosen but didn't play, like Washington Sundar and all. So starting with Rohit Sharma, he scored 400 runs at 44 average, took six catches, scored 200s and 150. Even though he scored these runs, most of it came at the back end of the series. I would say this is a 7.5 rating for Rohit Sharma, the batsman. We are not rating the captaincy here, just a batsman. Shrikar Bharat has played two tests, scored 92 runs and took six catches. He could have won the first test for India. If he had done that, probably he would have got a better rating. But for now, I'm going with 1.5. Lost out on a number of times in the second test at least in scoring runs. Shreyas Iyer scored again, only played the two tests, 104 runs at 26 average. Took one catch. That one catch was really effective because that took care of Zach Crawley when he was going all guns blazing in that second test in Vizag. I've also given him 1.5. Now, Yashasvi Jaiswal, undoubtedly the man of the series, scored 712 runs at 89, took three catches, 200s and 350s. And in a separate conversation somewhere else, I called Yashasvi Jaiswal a world beater. I think Jaiswal brings that kind of background to his career, which would ensure that he stays grounded, or he stays true to the nature of batsmanship that he has shown so far. Indeed, there might be a technical flaw or here or there that might get found out in eventual time, but we trust that this guy will be able to cover those flaws and be able to score at least, I would say, 10,000 runs. I see him as the second opener after Sunil Gavaskar to score 10,000 runs for India. For this series, I have given him 9.5. Then Dhruv Jurel scored 190 runs, each one of them as important as anybody else's runs. Um, Took five catches, did two stumpings, had that phenomenal 50 score, which was actually a 90 in that first innings in Ranchi. So Dhruv Jurel for me scored 7.5 in those three tests. Sarfaraz Khan, he also scored 200 runs with 350s. Should have got a debut 100, but for Sir Jadeja, uh, took three catches. The average remains 50 for him in Test cricket. I would rate him a 7. There will be sterner questions asked of Sarfaraz when he goes abroad. Rajat Patidar, poor fellow, scored 63 runs at 10.5, took four catches. He was good in the fielding. I've given him a 1. Next, we'll look at Shubman Gill. Scored 452 runs at an average of 56.5. That's his best home series ever. Scored 200s and 250s. I have given Shubman Gill an 8.5 for this. Scored stunning runs in that second innings in Ranchi. Scored a brilliant 100 in Vizag also in the second innings where everybody else failed. So he gets an 8.5. Devdutt Padikkal had just one inning, scored 65 runs, took two catches. Really nothing to analyze here. I've given him a 5.5. KL Rahul played just one match, scored 108, should have scored a century. easily in that first innings, and second innings should have probably taken India home. I've given him a 5 for that. Now we come to the all-rounders. Ravi Ashwin, he scored 116 runs at 16. I mean, with the bat, he was not as effective, but took 26 wickets at the rate of 24.8. He also came to his form at the fag end of the series. For that, I've given Ashwin a 7.5. Ravi Jadeja, he was the perfect all-rounder in the matches that he played in the beginning of the series. So scored 232 runs with 101 and took 19 wickets at the rate of 25.05. Probably should have scored at least one more 100 and should have probably taken India home in that first test. So for me, he scores 8.5. Akshar Patel was touted highly, especially after a good home series against Australia. He scored 133 runs at an average of 33 and took 5 wickets at an average of 41. He scores 4.5, largely because of the bowling performance. Then we come to the pure bowlers. Jasprit Bumrah, he scored 58 runs and took 19 wickets at 16.89. I mean, that is just amazing, just class. Bumrah's is 9.5. I have given him the same numbers as Jaiswal. I think, but for Bumrah, this series would have had a much different score line. Another player who had a stunning impact on the series was Kuldeep Yadav, both with the bat and the ball. I mean, somebody who scored 97 runs had an impact with the bat. You will be surprised, but he did. Every time he came to bat, it seemed like Kuldeep Yadav was putting a price on his wicket and scored very, very clutch and vital runs. And he also took 19 wickets at an average of 20.15. I've given him a score of 9 out of 10. Then three pacers, we'll look at Mohammad Siraj, scored 15 runs at an average of 15, took 6 wickets at an average of 46, failed in his primary capability, gets 4 out of 10. Akash Dev scored 9 runs and then took 3 wickets at the rate of 27.66. In that first morning in Ranchi, he was almost unplayable, but he only bowled and batted in one innings, so nothing much to say. Scores 5.5. Finally, Mukesh Kumar didn't get to bat and took 1 wicket at an average of 70. So Mukesh scores 0.5. That's about the Indian team. Let's now go over to the English one. So this is the English team. Johnny Bairstow scored 238 runs, 4 out of 10 for me. Didn't have any impact in the series at all. I mean, these are the most impactless 238 runs that I've seen anyone score in a 5-match series. Zach Crawley scored 407 runs, had 450 plus scores, scored 7 out of 10 for me. Ben Stokes was outstanding behind the wickets, took 12 catches and 4 stumpings. And I thought he played quite a few clutch innings in front of the wicket also that the English press probably doesn't recognize as well. His effort in that second innings in Hyderabad, as well as what he was doing in the Vizag test also was significant. Probably should have scored more runs, but 205 runs batting at 7 is commendable. He's gets 6 for me. Then Joe Root scored 320 runs at an average of 35, comfortably the lowest that he has ever averaged in India. But he also took 8 wickets at an average of 51. He was turned into a spin bowling all-rounder, took 10 catches, but also missed a lot of the catches. That's the story of Joe Root here. Whatever the numbers show here, you also need to think that he left a lot of those runs out. He did not score the runs at the moment that it was probably needed when the series was probably much more alive. Um, Joe Root went missing. And that is why he gets a 7.5 for me. Harry Brook withdrew from the series. Ben Duckett scored 343 runs with 100 and nothing much otherwise. He gets 6.5. Similarly, Ollie Pope, 315 runs with one daddy 100, but he also took quite a lot of catches, good catches at crucial point. He gets 5.5. Dan Lawrence was part of the team but never got to play, and that's one of the decisions that we had called out in our last episode. Jimmy Anderson, 13 runs at 2.6 and 10 wickets and 33.5. I felt Jimmy Anderson had a shocker of a series. Um, I mean, being the premier GOAT fast bowler, if he's taking, 2 wickets per match, that's not enough. He gets 4 out of 10 for me. Tom Hartley was probably the all-rounder that England missed. Tom Hartley scored 185 runs at 18.5 and took 22 wickets at the rate of 36.13. I think Tom Hartley was one of the brightest spots here. Tom Hartley gets a 7 for me out of 10. Ollie Robinson was curious case. Ollie Robinson was perhaps the only low order batsman who stuck around to play a innings of substance in a match that mattered. His 58 was the only half century that England scored from 6 downwards. But look at that wicket column. So he gets a 2 out of 10 for me. Mark Wood, again, very, surprising series. He would come on and bowl 2 or 3 overs and then, go and field in the sun somewhere or in the shade somewhere. Scored 48 runs, where one of those 48 included 31 runs out of, I think, 10 balls. And 4 wickets after playing 3 test matches is very poor. So Mark Wood gets a 3 out of 10 for me. Gus Atkinson didn't play. Jack Leach played only the first test. He did not score a run and only took 2 wickets at 48. So didn't much have an impact. He gets a 2 out of 10 for me. Shoaib Bashir was really somebody I think England should invest in. 33 runs at an average of 11 and took 17 wickets, playing just 3 matches at 33.35 with 1 catch. That's impressive. Shoaib Bashir scored 7.5, the highest amongst the bowlers. Amongst the all-rounders, Ben Stokes, the captain, scored 199 runs, which is even lower than Ben Foakes, who was supposed to be a failure of a wicketkeeper. So Ben Stokes scored 199 runs at average of 19.9 and took that 1 wicket, giving away 17 runs. So with 150 in this series, Ben Stokes gets a 4. Rehan Ahmed, he played the first 3 test matches, scored 76 runs and took 11 wickets at an average of 44. He gets 3.5 out of 10. So this about the players. Now we look at some of the other stakeholders in this series and how they perform. So let's look at the Indian think tank. Um, Dravid and Rohit had I would say, a mixed series. Initially, they fluffed a lot, especially, reacting to the bazzball. Some of the decisions of playing a second pacer at times, when the first pacer itself is, not working well. Playing a second pacer was a meaningless. Could have easily played another spinner or even another batsman. Didn't change the wicketkeeper fast enough, but still made some crucial correct decisions like bringing in Kuldeep Yadav and continuing with him throughout the series. And for that, they get a 7.5. Alternatively, if we look at Baz McCullum and Ben Stokes, they were dealt, I will say, a bad hand with the selections itself. I mean, who brings 3 spinners who have just 1 test between them to 5-match test series of India? I mean, that's harakiri. And then you lose your premier spinner, the only one who has played here before, and you don't even replace him. So I feel that the way that the England treated the people going back and not replacing them was rather chivalrous at best, but stupid and idiotic at at normal level. So I give them a 6. And then if you look at the selection panel of Ajit Agarkar along with Rohit Sharma, they did a splendid job. The way that they selected some of the backups. I mean, Dhruv Jurel, nobody knew that this guy could play this well. But the selection committee, actually persisted with him, and when he was given the chance, he showed that he is the real deal. But then again, they chose to prefer Rajat Patidar as the first replacement instead of bringing somebody like Sarfaraz. And also the decision to do away with Pujara seemed very hasty. We will need Pujara in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia this year. So doing away with him was not the right decision. So they get a 8.5. Turning to the English um, selectors or the English director of cricket, Rob Key. Um, I think they were sold a solid dummy by the team that were chosen. Also, I don't know why no substitute or no replacement players were brought when players went back with injury or what for whatever reason. I give them a 3. Finally, the umpires. If I look at the number of false decisions that were made, the number of false decisions were very high in the second and the third test. In fact, if you look at it, Ben Stokes complained after the third test because the umpires' calls were, he wanted the umpires' calls to be abolished. The reason behind that is that the umpires' calls that went in the third test went all in favor of India. So usually it happens that some of the calls happen for India, some of the calls happen for England, but in the third test, everything happened for India. So that's why he wanted the calls abolished. Come to the fourth test, the number of DRS calls and number of DRS mistakes went a notch up. Ranchi was a horrendous test for the umpires, and India suffered the most in that test. Anyway, for overall in the series, the umpire gets a 7.5. And finally, we'll look at the pitch curators for the 5 test series. I think they were absolutely the best pitches that India could have wished for, given England had a novice spin attack. So this pitch curators gets a 10 out of 10 for me. That's about the India versus England series. I think we have given it a fairly good welcome and it stayed with us for long. Now let's. It's a season of IPL and no self-respecting cricket podcast will do, a zero episodes on IPL. However, our IPL coverage would be limited to just looking at how the performances in this IPL will impact the Indian T20 team selection process for the World T20 that follows immediately in West Indies. So let's look at what are the team combinations that are possible and which are the players who are almost certain to be there, and look at what are the other options that are possible. So this is the construct of the team, and let's look at who will be the protagonists that have already probably booked their places. The top three, as in the openers and number three, would be any combination of these 4 players. I think Yashasvi Jaiswal is the only one who will always be one of those openers, and any one of Rohit Sharma or Shubman Gill might be paired with him. And if Gill is not playing as an opener, he might come in at number 3, or Virat Kohli will obviously be the number 3. Ideally, I would have sat Rohit Sharma out of this and played Gill and Jaiswal as an opener and put Kohli at number 3. But then such is life. If we look at the middle order, two names have already booked their places, which is Surya Kumar Yadav and Rinku Singh. The all-rounder slot, Hardik Pandya has already booked his place. In the bowlers, four names are almost certain. We will have Bumrah. We will have Arshdeep Singh, brings in the left hand, pace bowling. And the two spinners would probably be Bishnoi and Kuldeep Yadav. That leaves four spots open. Remember, the team can be of 15 players. So the first one is obviously the wicketkeeper. The second one is the third pacer, who could also be a potential all-rounder. And then another middle order batter come all-rounder, um, who would be able to play in number 7 or number 8 sometimes. And finally, the jack of all trades, who could be, a backup for any one of these, depending on how the teams stack up, whether it's a third spinner or it's a fourth pacer or it's a second wicket keeper. The combinations are endless. Let us look at who are the players, potential players who we can look at in this IPL. If we are looking at the top three, then the potential replacements could be Shreyas Iyer. His injury and his contract not being there might be an issue. Ruturaj Gaikwad will most likely have a good series with Chennai Super Kings. And then we have Venki Iyer from Kolkata Knight Riders. He brings in a little bit of an all-rounder tag also. In the middle order, KL Rahul. Now, this is again subject to KL Rahul actually playing as a middle order batsman in Lucknow Super Giants. He has been opening throughout his IPL career, most of the time at least. So, whether he goes back to middle order spot or not, and also keeps wickets, that will determine whether he can be chosen. Tilak Verma has had a chance with India, is very promising. Is also a left-hander and can bowl a bit. Deepak Hooda was part of the last World T20 side, although he's right now not much in form, and it will be a huge surprise to see Deepak Hooda play for India again. There are a lot of names in the all-rounder category. Shardul Thakur, Ravindra Jadeja, Ravi Ashwin, Akshar Patel, Washington Sundar, Shivam Dube, Shardul Thakur, and Harshal Patel. All of them brings different capabilities to the table. Most of them are bowlers first and batsmen, later. Whether India chooses fourth bowler, a third bowler to be a pacer, or fourth bowler to be a pacer will also tell us whether we need an all-rounder to be the spinning variety. India has tried fitting Ravi Jadeja in one of those spots, but I think Akshar Patel is clearly, probably the best of this lot. Shivam Dube as an alternative to Hardik Pandya is good, but I don't think he adds much as a separate member of the team, because we need somebody who would be able to bowl in those low and slow tracks in the West Indies. If Harshal Patel is in form, then he could be a great death bowler, but then who knows? Washington Sundar provides a unique proposition with his spin, which can be something that can be used in the power plays, but he's not really a T20 batsman, so it's difficult to look beyond maybe Shardul, Akshar, and Ravi Jadeja here. Well, the outside chance might be with Ravi Ashwin and Harshal Patel. The wicketkeeper will be the most hotly contested spot. We have Dhruv Jurel, Rishabh Pant is coming back, Sanju Samson, and then we have Jitesh Sharma and Ishan Kishan. All of them have played for India in different, categories. And probably if Pant is fit, he would probably, make his own way. Although it might be worthwhile to trial Dhruv Jurel in this, because if India is looking for a wicketkeeper who could finish, then either Jurel or Jitesh Sharma would be the answer. If they're looking for a wicketkeeper who would play near the top, then Pant or Sanju Samson or Ishan Kishan could be the answer. Amongst bowlers, Siraj, Mukesh, Avesh Khan, Deepak Chahar, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Umran Malik, and Yuzvendra Chahal are the potential players who could vie for a spot. Um, Bhuvneshwar Kumar has been part of India's T20 side for a long, long time, but he hasn't played a single match since the last World T20. So it will be very difficult to see him feature for the country. Probably Deepak Chahar has the best chance. Mohammad Siraj is no doubt a very good bowler, but his one-dimensional skills, being a bowler who cannot bat or field, it's too hard to take to World T20. The same with Mukesh. I don't think India will try and take Umran or Chahal. So most likely here it will be Deepak Chahal or Avesh Khan. Now there are a few set of players who are not likely to be picked, but if they have a tremendous IPL, somebody, shoots through the roof with their performance, then might be, a chance to, get selected. So these are long shots, but worth keeping an eye on. Again, in the top three, we see Abhishek Sharma from Sunrisers, Nehal Vadera from Mumbai, Devdutt Padikkal from Lucknow Super Giants, Yash Dhul from Delhi, and Prithvi Shaw. All of them could eventually play for India. Prithvi Shaw has already played for India. Abhishek Sharma probably brings the best credentials. He has had a wonderful Syed Mustaq Ali tournament, and if he can have a breakthrough tournament here, he could be in for a slot in this World T20 side. Nobody would grudge Prithvi Shaw a slot if he can, get rid of his demons and play the way that we know he can. So that would be an amazing story also. In the middle order, if we look at it, the names are probably Nitish Rana from Kolkata Knight Riders and Atharva Taide from Delhi. Looking at the all-rounder, I think Riyan Parag has had a tremendous season for his whichever side he has played for so far. Ramandeep Singh too has had a tremendous season in T20s. If either one of these two can actually have a great IPL, trust that they will be able to break through into the team. The other all-rounders worth noting out is Rahul Tewatia, Lalit Yadav, and Shahbaz Ahmed. The chances are very minimal that any one of these three would be picked, but I would always hope that one of Riyan Parag or Ramandeep Singh, or for that matter, Abhishek Sharma, breaks through and becomes one of the all-rounders in this World T20. For the wicketkeeper, the outsider list is, short. Pravsimran Singh from Punjab, he has had a very good year so far. Ricky Bhui has had a wonderful Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy and also a great Ranji Trophy. Whether he can do the same thing in IPL or not, that is the question. And then there are a couple of one player from Bihar and one from Jharkhand. Bipin Saurav of Bihar and Kumar Kushagra from Jharkhand. Both of them are outside bets. Whether they will be able to manage it or not in this cauldron, no one knows. Ricky Bhui or Prav Simran Singh is my outside bet. Finally, the bowlers, Suyash Sharma. I bet that Suyash Sharma will become one of the prime Indian spinners in the time to come, at least in the short formats. He has had a wonderful Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy where he gave less than a run a ball. Shams Mulani is actually has played for quite a lot of years for Mumbai. He's an all-rounder to boot, and he too has given runs less than number of balls that he has bowled. So he could also be an option. Mohsin Khan, Akashdeep, and Sai Kishore. Out of that, I think Sai Kishore is already bowling at a very high level. Um, India trying out a left arm spinner to open the bowling. I think Sai Kishore could do a wonderful job. Suyash Sharma and Sai Kishore, these two would be playing for India in the near future. Whether it is at the World T20 or not, that's for time to decide. But with some luck, one or two of these outside shots could make it into the T20 side. Whenever there is an IPL season, one shudders to think what will happen to the fitness and especially the form of some of the key Indian players, especially because the World Cup or the World Test Championship or some key world event happens to be happening in the month of June or July, or some key series lies in June and July. So I'll keep my fingers crossed that all the, the especially the key Indian bowlers and batters are not injured, are fit and raring to go. And that their form is sufficient enough to take them to this World T20. And India at least makes the right decisions in picking and not picking some of those players. Picking somebody for sentimental reasons or not picking somebody when probably cricketing reasons suggest that is something that has hampered Indian decision making for long. India is not favorite for this World T20, but one hopes that this IPL will not spoil the choice of the 15 men who would be asked to represent India in that World T20. It's been a pleasure bringing this episode to you. If you like this episode, please like and share it. Please also subscribe or follow our podcast.